What is up, guys? It's Friday. We are closed for the week, thankfully. TGIF if you want to be all cliche. But so what I've been working on. Well, as you know, I've kind of been all over the place, and you might not know because I suck at updating my YouTube. But you know, I appreciate you guys hanging in there. That come back every now and then when I seldom post a video. But so you know, the good block right now is down at HED Hero Engine Dyno. So they can hopefully repair it from the stuff in Georgia. You know, there's actually like aluminum in the one bolt that would not come out. So he's been kind of, you know, working at trying to get that out first before you go into, you know, boring the sleeve out and all that good stuff. Fingers crossed I can save it so I don't have a expensive paperweight. But anyways, so I had a LC9 here, which I may have showed you. I really can't remember. Honestly, I thought it was an L33 because that's how close I looked at it. I bought it from a customer 6 months ago. Figured it was an L33, and those are great blocks too. But I kept thinking it had a third, or not a third, but a cam gear on the back of the valley cover. But it's a DOD cover, and I'm just an idiot, didn't pay attention. So I was like, well, let me tear this thing down and start looking at it because, you know, ideas are going through my head. I'm getting antsy. It's been almost a month and a half, or has been a month and a half. I get it apart. Everything looks really good. I'm like, you know, the engine block is painted gray, so I'm like, this thing has been gone through probably by Jasper. That's what's kind of sketch, right? But I get it torn apart. All the bearings look perfect. You know, crosshatch even looks good in the cylinder walls. And I was like, man, this thing does not look bad. You know, it's like all the bearings and they look brand new pretty much. Then I'm like, man, I got these pistons here. These rods look good. You know, some good rods, Gen 4 stuff. And then John noticed just that the circlips look different on the wrist pins. I was like, that's right, you know. So walked over, grabbed another rod piston I had laying around. Excuse me. And as I was looking at these pistons that came out closer, I'm like, man, these things look like they don't look OEM. Well, let's get over here. So that was the first thing you noticed right there. And you see that coating right there? It tells you that it's cheap. And then another thing that caught my eye was the part number and that 0.5 right there. 0.5, I mean, it should mean basically 20 over. So I'm like, no way. So I have tons of crap laying around still because I don't really sell things. Basically, if I do, Sammy usually gets a hold of it somehow. I had some pistons, and I just dropped one in the hole, and I was like, oh my god, it's a 20 over block. So then I'm like, well, let's check Jasper's machine work. And then I checked the piston, the wall, and everything, and it's where I want it. Some might be a little looser, but that's okay. Then I was like, well, let's see how it does with the crank. So order a set of Cleveite bearings. I order them 1,000ths over. And here's my thing, like, I have too much customer stuff in front of me to go to my main machine shop to get another block done. And honestly, I don't want to spend that, you know, a bunch of money on it because I spend a bunch of money in machine shop fees on stock blocks, and you know, dumb things happen. So I'm trying to go into it with a more laid back attitude, hoping it pays off for me this time. But you know, anyway, so piston the wall is where I want it, you know. Then I get these Cleveite mains, extra 1,000ths clearance, and the reason I ordered extra 1,000ths was because I was like, you know, that the line bore, it's not going to be, I'm not getting a line bore, you know. So they said not unless I have to. I do that. The bearing clearances, they actually came in really good. Number 5 was a little looser than I liked, so I ended up switching number 1 and 5, and it brought them all within the same range. And I put it all together. The crank spins good, but I didn't have like any thrust. You know, it was way too. It was like actually you had to put some pressure on it to get it to even to the minimum GM spec. Ended up taking the thrust bearings out and just sanding them down with, you know, clamping them together, sanding them down on a piece of wood, and lo and behold, did all that, and I got my thrust where I wanted it, you know. So now here is where we are at. I got these old rods of mine, the Pistons. Those are technically Sammy's Pistons because he used mine in his last in his engine recently, because he just needed to get some machined and it was faster to grab mine off the floor, which they both had about the same amount of passes on them, so it's not a big deal. But I had Nick from Hustlin Horsepower. He has access to a lathe, and it's like he machined Sammy's. I had him I just totaled everything. I had him machine 20 thousandths off my domes for proper piston height. You know, typically we always get a little bit of positive deck height at single stock blocks. With aluminum rods, you gotta be careful with that because you run out of quench. And I think that's why Sammy had the issues he had. I feel really confident about it, is that he just never checked his deck height. And once he finally did, it was worse than usual. Because, you know, not only do you have deck height, but you have actually when the piston gets to the top and rocks a little bit. So he took 15 off of his. I took 20 off of mine. Another thing I did was, we always use Enemies Racing Australia gaskets. Well, they're hard to get, and it'll take a few weeks to get them. So I went with, I'm going to actually do a copper gasket, like a solid copper gasket, flat out. Pete down at Hero Engine Dyno has that. And what I did here, I bought an O-ring tool, and we set it up so we cut everything. And the deck is smooth. It's just like it has some gasket stain on it, but everything checks out good. So O-ringed everything, both sides. And this side right here, John started putting in deck support. It's just like kind of one of Sammy's ideas. And we'll see if it works. Usually when they crack the sleeve right there. And I'm not trying to go out and set the world on fire. I'm really not. I'm trying to have fun again. And I'm sure I'll lean on it some, especially the first time I line against somebody that's really fast. I used to have good luck. Hopefully I can have it back. I want to pull the extra weight out from LDR. But anyways, that's where we're at. I've got both sets of 220 heads. The OG set, and then the set that I got from BTR last year that was ported by BES. That was on the car whenever we broke the block in Georgia the second time. They've been fixed since then. They are good to go. And now I've still got the cam lifter. So the reason I'm doing this is I'm gonna have a few $100 tied up in bearings and gaskets and stuff like that, but I have everything else. So I'm hoping that I can have a little bit of fun, not just necessarily worry about going super fast, but just get out there and get out, and also learn a little more. Go to some times where the track's not perfect, learn more about power management and learn more on the chassis side of things, just to try different things. So that's where I'm at. I know it's kind of a long talk and seeing my face and my dusty shop ceiling, but just need to explain to you guys. I've had so many ideas since the incident in Georgia, and I went a bunch of different directions, or started to go directions, but I was not super impulsive, and I ended up where I'm at now, and so I'm kind of glad it worked out. But anyways, that's where we're at. So I'm gonna chip away this thing some more, try to get these rings file fitted, and just get what I can done before I gotta head home for the day. Update, guys. Got the rotating assembly in there. Everything looks good there. Got the little deck supports in, or just 1/4 set screws. And this is far from a science here, but literally just run a drill bit in there, which is kind of hard to keep centered, and then just thread them in with a ratchet. But everything turns good and all that stuff. These are the same rods that we've used. Have probably a season and a half on them or something like that. And the pistons don't have a whole lot on them either. So the crank only has like 6 or 7 passes on it. But now I'm going to start working on the other stuff. Get the cam in there, get it degreed, and all the little crap you got to do. So just something to make progress. So whenever the head gaskets come in, I can just slap the heads on and drop this engine in. What is up, guys? Another Saturday here at the shop. Spent earlier today helping John out with the Grom, getting some stuff figured out on nitrous. Pretty cool. On my stuff, I'm still kind of playing the waiting game. You know, the other night I went through and put some of the O-rings in, or all of them. Can't really do much more to the head gaskets get here. They didn't come in last week, but hopefully they'll be here this week. You know, I'm honestly not motivated at all, but I know eventually I'll get motivated again. And if I keep waiting around, I'll be trying to cram a whole lot in at one time. But what I'm doing today is the old stator game here. So this stator that's in there now is for the 388. Works really good for that, but obviously the 5.3 is not going to move it. This guy right here is a couple steps looser, so hopefully it will come up. It'll probably still take 5 or 6 seconds, but that way it'll hold good out back. But that's what I'm about to do now. About to take this thing apart and make a mess, so let's check it out. Update, guys. So head gaskets finally came in. I ran down the HED today, Harold engine and dyno, picked them up. You can tell these are solid because my heads are filled. You know, in hindsight, I would like to try, based off of what Harold down there told Sammy, you know, run water through the heads only. So basically you weld the bottoms up, dry deck them. Unfortunately, my heads are full of concrete, so I can't do that. Technically it's Moroso block filler, but it seems very concrete-like. But, you know, we're gonna see. We really didn't have issues before. I do think there's more power in that, but we didn't have issues before. But we'll see now. But yeah, I'm gonna try to at least get one head on tonight before I head out, so I can check push rod length and make sure I don't need to get anything. Maybe I can get this thing running this weekend. All right, got the gasket on there. The copper always looks cool. And just a reminder, for those who missed it earlier, the reason I did these opposed to our usual ones is because it's just easier to get. And I don't want to spend a bunch of money on gaskets for something that could just be a flop of a project. So that's why I don't want you to think I'm got any issues with the other ones. But it's just logistics right now with shipping and everything being so crazy. And honestly, I'm not trying to spend any more money than I absolutely have to with this deal, considering you know, I do have obviously another more important block and stuff to worry about once all that gets resolved. Alright guys, a little more progress. Cylinder head is bolted on. I'll of course retorque it. Probably check it in the morning, honestly, and then probably again after a heat cycle. Went to 105 foot-pounds. These are 625 plus studs. You know, they would not fit my Warhawk block, but you know, I didn't get rid of them because I like to keep parts just in case something stupid happens and I end up having to put a stop block back together. Update, guys. Other cylinder head is on. Painting the engine plates black, motor plates, whatever you want to call them. John tried to polish one, didn't like it. I really didn't care, but you know, it had oil and fire residue on it. But yeah, just gotta put the rear cover, rear barbell on, flywheel. I'll probably go ahead and get this thing dropped in. There we go, guys. Just got the heads and intake manifold ports blocked off. I need to clean the intake manifold. It's got some oil in it, and clean the intake manifold, make some couple fuel lines. We're going to try flipping the fuel pump like I talked about, so I got a fitting on the way for that. Should be here tomorrow, but it's getting there. So you know, I'll feel good about it when it runs and sounds good after I get some heat in it, because it is kind of hodgepodge together. The only thing I'm really questionable about, of course, is the machine work, since it's Jasper. But you know, I'm just going to keep on trucking at it, and this thing should be hopefully ready to fire up tomorrow night, as long as UPS doesn't screw me over on my ignition box package. Update, guys. So we flipped the fuel pump. Hopefully that'll help the priming issues. So we had to make an adapter that goes to the engine plate there, and to give us our length we needed, and redid that line. This stuff from Vibrant, this heat sleeve, works really good. You know, multiple lines that didn't have it were definitely damaged, and this stuff you could tell had some heat on it, and it was fine. The lines were fine, which is awesome. Had to reconfigure, put a little piece of pie cut in there, and change the orientation to feed the bottom of the pump, but we still got plenty of clearance there, you know, on both of those. You know, new scabbage pump return line there, and turbo feed. Now I'm about to do is get the push rods in, all that good stuff, and after that I'll probably get the engine harness ran, and I need to, I got most of my injectors back from Sammy. He had a few more he had to clean a little bit longer, so I'll try to run out there later. My goal was to fire this thing up tomorrow. I don't know if I get it fired up tonight, but I shouldn't be far from it, to be honest. But I'm just gonna keep on grinding and see, because all these little things just add up and take a while, and I gotta see how much time I have, see how much time the wife gives me. We're getting there. Obviously got some things that need to be zip tied and whatnot, but going to run over to Sammy's and get the rest of my injectors. The ones he's having trouble cleaning. He said they're done, and hopefully get back here later tonight to get this thing running, so that way I can come in tomorrow morning and retorque the heads and stuff, assuming everything, you know, looks well and I'm all pumped up and ready to go. So here we are, guys. It's about midnight, Friday night. I think it's the 20th. Not really sure, but everything's together. Oil is in it. I do need to put fuel in it, and I'm about to modify the map real quick for the previous stop block deal, so for fueling and timing, etc. So let me get that made up. Well, guys, the engine is primed, the fuel system seems primed. Hopefully with this pump I'll actually be able to get the air out of it, and with the pump inverted, and hopefully I don't have any leaks. I had a little leak at one of the fuel fittings, and hopefully I got it, but if not, I can take the fitting back apart, worst case. So I guess let's see what we got. What's up, guys? So it's Saturday and we are on the dyno. Just did our first hit, 16 pounds, pull 6,300. One thing to understand when you got the way these converters are built and stuff, that is they are built to handle, you know, X amount of theoretical power, a lot of variables there. Excuse me. But the thing to remember is, I'm typically pulling in high gear if something makes a lot of power, so I don't have the extra torque multiplication of like second gear, for example, compared to third. And whereas in second, it'd probably pull out higher, I know it would. But third, you know, it's on 17 pounds, it's only going to pull to 6,300 or whatever. It's on 16 pounds, yeah. So now you're like, well, what do you do with the rest of the map from there? Just kind of extrapolate out and go from there. And also on this car, though, I don't run 16 pounds. So it's not that big of a deal if it makes that boost in the higher RPM. On other applications on lower power stuff, then I'll do things like do pulls in lower gears and whatnot, just to make sure things are good out the back door. But now just put 10 more pounds on the dome, and we're going to see how it does. You can definitely tell this thing's got some less torque than the 388 that was in it. It takes a little longer to spool, but you know, that's never been a problem before, I guess, you know, with when we were running the stock block stuff last year. But anyways, let's see how we do. So that pull that you guys saw was actually 16 pounds. I forgot to flash the changes I had made. Then I forgot to turn the camera on for the next pull at 25 pounds, or actually 22. I just changed the plugs, put some fresh plugs in, put some more dome pressure on it, and let's kind of see if we can start getting some data, you know. What's up, guys? So the camera went dead Saturday recording, but as you could probably tell, I did quite a few pulls on Saturday. I got a lot of data, figured a lot of things out. You know, generally when it comes to my car, I'm always super rushed, just get on the dyno because we're behind for this or that, whatever, and I just don't get time to learn like I want to. So I learned some stuff, made some changes. You know, as I mentioned, my goal was not to run the guts out of this thing, but if I do want to lean on it, I just want to feel confident about it, which, you know, of course, with what I'm dealing with, it can still break, but that was my big thing right there. So I just want to know some stuff. If you're curious on power, go check out boostismyfriend on YouTube. He made a video, so I'll let him have that for you. And but yeah, I'm happy with how it did. Oil pressure's still great. You know, it's Monday evening. I checked it this morning when I came in, and cranked it up again because I gotta see it. It's still good. Compression looks phenomenal. So I'm happy so far for sure. Definitely, you know, had my doubts considering what I'm dealing with here because I didn't go above and beyond on this one. And it looks good, but at the end of the day, what matters is the track. So speaking of the track, we are on track, use that word too many times, for Shadyside next Saturday, or this coming Saturday I should say, the 28th. What we did is, earlier before John left, he raised the car up some. It'll be hard to tell on the Projects, You can tell the rear is up a little bit. By adjusting the rear some, takes a little bit of anti-squat out. The front has also been raised up and loosened up. I don't have a light. Let me see here. Oh man, well now I learn how to use my technology. Whatever, some helps a little bit. But hung that extra 10 pounds back there from our LDR weight. Let me turn this around. The race Saturday is not a radial prep event. It's a light prep maintain deal. So not no prep, but not the super sticky stuff we're used to. As you can tell, we got the pro brackets back on it, and if you couldn't, that's why we got the welds on there. So because I kept those because I wanted to be able to switch tires easily. If at some point, you know, we're doing more of this stuff and it seems advantageous to put the 14s on for that, the 14 wides, then I'll switch them over. Right now they just got my pros, so they're just hanging out on the floor over there. Also clean this area up so it looks a lot better. Did that, raised the car up a bit. You know, we're keeping all the weight in there because the track prep, and that keeps our rear bias better for this kind of stuff. Maybe. I mean, obviously we're kind of shotgunning it here. We're figuring it out. I learned some stuff at LS Fest last year, that's for sure. You know, the car's got different rear gear now, so things are going to be a little bit different. I'm happy with everything though. You know, the engine is doing well. Everything worked well. The converter thing spools fast on the trans brake. It seems to hold well on the dyno. Obviously, we'll find out in the track. And like I said, I'd be surprised if I get over 29 pounds. It just depends. You know, the big thing is the car feeling stable on the big end. Like, you know, if the car feels like it'll handle more, I'll try to work more up top, but we're only going to be able to leave so hard. So hopefully we can just make the car plant and stay planted, which these pro brackets radials are more forgiving. And they don't have many passes on them either. The compression check, compression's good. I still got this AccuSump deal, so I may add it. What that does is if it detects low oil pressure on shutdown, it based off whatever regulator you set it at, it will dump a bunch of oil into it to increase pressure. So I need to really do that, to be honest. That way, because this thing has always dropped pressure when the chutes come out, and obviously those bearings don't like that, especially when they're decelerating from the high RPM and me not having a clean neutral, unfortunately. Fuel pump's working great, being flipped over like it is. So definitely killer about that. So I'm just happy how some things that kind of came together on this one. You know, I went into it with a bit of apathy and just kind of see what happens. And it's turned out well so far. You know, once again, the track will be the end-all be-all for me. So making big power is one thing, but that's irrelevant. Honestly, I just want to be able to stay together because I'm too busy to keep tearing this thing apart, and it's annoying when it doesn't run. I mean, and also, I mean, it just looks cool when it's got the engine in there. It looks gangster. So that way people come into the shop and they see it and they're like, you know, that's awesome. And so yeah. But that's what I got. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and wish me luck this Saturday.